Hello students, today we are going to look at the poem After Blenheim, which is there in 10th ICSE and it is written by Robert Southey. Now before I start with the poem, if you look into your workbook, there is a title background of the poem. So before we start with the poem, let's read this. Here it is written that After Blenheim is an anti-war poem. That's true because it is against war. And it shows that what are the disadvantages of war. But here a story has been given that how this war started. This is actually about a village, Blenheim, which is an English name for the German name Blindheim, a village which is present on the left bank of Danube River in Bavaria, which is in southern Germany. Now here in 1700 November, the grandson of King Louis XIV of France had acceded the throne. He had succeeded to the throne of Spain as Philip V. Austria and other countries saw this as an injustice and they started war against it. They opposed it. They said that the French king wanted to increase his power and so he has enthroned his grandson to the throne. So consequently, war broke out in 1701 between Austria and France. Now, two more countries had joined hands with Austria and they were Netherlands and England. So the German principalities of Bavaria and Cologne and Italian principalities of Mantua and Savoy, they allied themselves with France. So this means three places joined hands with each other: Austria, Netherlands, and England. And in France, which other places had joined hands? They were the German principalities of Bavaria and Cologne and Italian principalities of Mantua and Savoy. So as the war progressed, Portugal and various German dominions, they including Prussia and Hanover, they entered the war on the side of on the side of Austria. That means as the war was progressing, two other states joined hands with Austria and they were Prussia and Hanover. Now in addition, Savoy, it left the alliance with France and joined hands with Austria again. Now in 1704, the coalition defeated French and Bavarian forces of Blenheim in one of the most important battles of war. Now, due to so many states gathering and taking the side of Austria, French were defeated. They faced a defeat and a long battle had taken place in which many of the innocent people, they lost their lives. So among the conqueror heroes were England's Duke of Marlborough and Savoy's Prince Eugene. So this is about these two kings, the Savoy's Prince Eugene and the Prince of Marlborough of England. So here we come to know that a great war had taken place, and that too in 1701 when the French king's grandson had ascended the throne in 1700 November, which Austria could not take. They thought that it was as if the France wanted to increase its power, and so they are trying to put their grandsons and grandsons as to the throne. So they broke out a war with France in 1701. Now Austria was joined by England and Netherlands initially, and France, it gained a coalition from Savoy, then Mantua. These were the two Italian principalities, and the German principalities of Bavaria and Cologne also joined hands with France. Now these two powers, they started battling with each other. As the war progressed, two other states had joined hands with Austria, and that were Prussia and Hanover. So it became more and more powerful, Austria. In between, Savoy had renounced France and had joined hands with Austria. So ultimately the French had to face a defeat, and then later two kings had gained victory, but in this battle, which was a very long battle, many innocent people had lost their lives. So these two princes were the Savoy's Prince Eugene and England's Duke of Marlborough. So now let's look at the poem. It was a summer evening. Old Caspar's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun, and by him sported on the green his little grandchild Wilhelmine. Now here it is said about a farmer, an elderly farmer, Caspar. He had done what? After completing his day's work in the evening, he sat in front of his cottage door on the doorsteps, and he was taking the sun bath of the evening, taking the sun heat. And he saw that on the lawn, his grandchild, that is the granddaughter, Wilhelmine, was playing in the lawn. She saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round, which he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. Now Wilhelmine noticed that Peterkin was rolling a big round smooth you can say surface with his feet, and that too that was found near the rivulet. Rivulet means a small river. In playing there had found, while he was praying, he found that big round smooth surface. He came to ask what he had found that was so large and smooth and round. Peterkin, while rolling that round thing, he came to his sister and grandfather and asked that, can you tell me what this round thing is? Old Caspar took it from the boy who stood expectant by, and then the old man shook his head and with a natural sigh, "'Tis some poor fellow's skull," said he, "who fell in the great victory." Now, old Caspar, he took that round smooth surface, and after looking at it, he gave his head a nod, and that too in pity. He gave a sigh of sorrow and said that it is a skull of some poor fellow who lost his life in a great victory. Poor fellow here doesn't mean it was a poor person. Poor fellow means he was having mercy towards that person, an innocent person who lost his life in that great victory. I find them in the garden, for there's many here about, and often when I go to plough, the ploughshare turns them out. So grandfather says, I found these type of round surfaces every time whenever I go to the garden and plough, use a ploughshare in order to plough it, because the ploughshare you can say digs about and brings out so many round surfaces on the surface, round balls on the surface. For many thousand men, said he, were slain in that great victory. Then he said that many thousand innocent people had lost their lives in that great victory, so many skulls are found in the garden. Now tell us what it was all about, young Peterkin, he cries, and little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder-waiting eyes. Now tell us all about the war and what they fought each other for. Now Peterkin was quite anxious. He wanted to know that what was that war about. Can you tell us, grandfather? And Wilhelmine also looked up with wonder, with surprise, and asked her grandfather that please tell us the entire story, why the people were fighting with each other at that time. So tell us about that war. It was the English, Caspar cried, who put the French to rout. But what they fought each other for, I could not well make out. But everybody said, quoth he, that it was a famous victory. So Caspar said that it was an English country that had fought with the French. So both of them were fighting with each other, but I do not know the reason why they fought with each other. But I have heard from many people that it was a great victory. My father lived at Blenheim then, yon little stream hard by. They burnt his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had he where to rest his head. Then Caspar told about his childhood, that when I was child, so my father used to live there beyond the stream at that place in Blenheim, and they had put the house on fire. So my father was forced to run away from there, and my mother, and I had to run away, but we couldn't find any place to rest. With fire and sword, the country round was wasted far and wide, and many a childing mother then and newborn baby died. But things like that, must be at every famous victory. So he said that everywhere there was sword and fire all around wherever we used to go. And even the childing mother, means the women who were pregnant, they were also slain with the help of sword. And even newborn babies were not left, they were slewn away with the help of sword. Then he says that, well, it is a normal thing in order to gain a famous victory, all these sacrifices have to be done every time. They say it was a shocking sight after the field was won, for many thousand bodies here lay rotting in the sun. But things like that, must be after a famous victory. Then Caspar further says that when seeing the dead bodies, I have heard from many people that it was a very shocking sight because all the dead bodies were lying on the ground and they were rotting in the sun. There was no one to bury them. All of them had rotted in the sun. The skeletons were left, the skulls were left rotting in the sun. But things of this sort have to be done. Such sacrifices have to be done by innocent people in order to make a victory famous. Great praise the Duke of Marlborough won, and our good Prince Eugene. Why, it was a very wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Nay, nay, my little girl, quoth he, it was a famous victory. Then Caspar told that the two princes had gained a very famous victory, and they were Prince Eugene and the Prince of Marlborough, the Duke of Marlborough. Then Wilhelmine cried out that it is not a good victory. It is a very wicked thing that had happened. Immediately Caspar interrupted in between and said, no, my grandchild, do not say like this. Every famous victory has to give such a sacrifice, so it can be said to be a famous victory. And everybody praised the Duke who this great fight did win. But what good came of it at last, quoth little Peterkin. Why, that I cannot tell, said he, but it was a famous victory. So Caspar said that everybody congratulated Prince Eugene and Duke of Marlborough, who had won a great victory. They had fought very bravely. Then Peterkin said that what was the result of this? What was the outcome of it? What advantage did the people gain from it? So here Caspar said, I cannot say what type of advantage was given to the people, but I must tell you that it was a famous victory. Here the poem ends, in which the old Caspar is quite confused and every time says, no, such sacrifices have to be done by the ordinary people, the common people, because for gaining a huge victory, the innocent people have to lay down their lives so that the kings and the princes they get victory. So here we are told that there was a farmer, Caspar, who had two grandchildren. One was a granddaughter of Wilhelmine, the grandson Peterkin. Peterkin found a round ball and then he asked his grandfather, what is it? Immediately Caspar told that it was the skull of a poor fellow who had to suffer death when a huge battle was taking place. So both of them were excited, the two grandchildren. They asked Caspar about that war. So Caspar told that it was a war between the English and the French, due to which many innocent people had to be sacrificed. And I used to live in Blenheim over there near the stream, and my house was also set on fire, due to which my father, mother and me had to wander about because we had no place to live in. Many pregnant women were killed, many newborn babies were killed, everybody was slain, and everywhere there was sword and fire, sword and fire. The entire scene was quite destructive. But anyhow, it was a famous victory. And it was a shocking sight that all the dead bodies were lying in the on the ground, rotting in the sun. Nobody was there to pay respect to them, to bury their dead bodies. They were all just lying like that, and it was rotten in the sun. And the two princes who had gained victory in this battle were Duke of Marlborough and Prince Eugene, and all of them congratulated them. But Peterkin asked that what good did this victory do to us? Any result that we got out of it? To which Caspar could not answer and said that I cannot tell, but anyhow, it was a great victory. Now let's look at the theme and the figures of his speech. The theme is man's cruelty to man. Because while fighting a long battle, the people, they do not care about the innocent and the common people who have to suffer a lot at the hands of gaining the victory. So old Caspar had, when the very first time his grandson Peterkin bought a round ball in front of him, he immediately nodded his head in great sorrow and said that it was a skull of a poor man. And so he said that although according to Caspar, it was a great victory. And for every great victory, everybody has to give sacrifices, which the children could not digest because the children couldn't find that any benefits of war was given to the people. Then curiosity and lack of it. Children, as you know, are every time curious about knowing what happened, what was the reason behind it. So both the children were curious in this poem. They wanted to know that what type of war was it and what that skull was about. And then when Caspar said that it was a great victory, both of the children asked about the war that had taken place. When the children asked what was the purpose of that war, why the war had been fought, he could not tell them, and so their curiosity remains as it is. Then comes complacency. Old Caspar unquestioningly